Hi friends, it's Deanna here today, and today we're sewing up the Glitz and Glamour dress and top pattern. I'm giving you a little sneak peek of what we're sewing up today. Go grab your pattern, check out your options, pick out the options you want to sew up. There are so many options. Come back over here and let's sew it together. Let's get started. Before we get started, I want to mention the fact that this is an asymmetrical pattern. So when you're cutting your pattern pieces, you have to make sure that you cut them with the pattern piece right side up, as noted on the pattern piece, because you're going to have one that's facing this way and you're going to have one that's facing this way for the back. So you want them to, so that when you put them together like so, you're gonna have the shoulders on the same side. So if you cut one upside down and one right side up, you may have one shoulder on this side and one shoulder on this side, and then you're gonna have to recut again. So make sure that all your pattern pieces are cut right side up. Now the next thing, and we're gonna have to do this to all of the pieces, the two bottom pieces and the two top pieces. So I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna put them aside, but I'm gonna show you in one of the top pieces. And it's, like I said, it's gonna be the same because we're going to work on our darts. Now the reason why I have two different colors, two different sizes, is because I fit somewhere between a small and a medium and a large. So my bodice, my top, is a medium. As you can see, I kind of narrow it down here as a medium and go out as a large because my bottom is a large. So I go out and I do the large size for my bottom so that it can have I can grade them together. So that's why I have two lines. All right, so for me to work on the darts, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out these little dart markings here. I like to just cut them off the pattern piece because I feel like I have a better way to trace them onto my pattern piece if I just cut them off. And I'm going to be doing this for all of them. Then I'm going to grab my pattern and I'm going to lay it out. And I'm going to grab my pattern piece, lay it right on top of it. And here at the bottom where those darts are, I'm going to draw the darts in. All right, so once these are drawn, I like to grab a pin and go in at one side of the dart and come out at the other where I marked it. And I want to do that twice. Ooh, that's a bent pin. One up closer to the top and one closer to the bottom. Go in at the first line, come out at the second line. That way when I opened it up and fold it, I'm going to fold my pin and go in farther down and come out at the other side to kind of guide me on that dart line. So the pin is right at the dart line here and here, and then this pin is the dart line here, and go in a little bit farther down and come out on the other side. So that way I'm like, this is like a guide. So then when I go to my sewing machine, I can sew right on that line. What I want to do is I want to start here at the bottom, and I'm going to sew with a regular straight stitch. As I get closer to the end, as I'm going to come out, I'm going to turn my my straight stitch to a little bit smaller stitch and come right out. I'm not going to back stitch or anything. I'm just going to come right out because later we'll do a little tie knot at the top so that we don't get any puckering here at the front. So I'm going to do this for all the sides. I'm going to do it on this side, and then I'm going to do it for the other pieces. All right, we start at the top with a regular straight stitch and narrow in towards the center to where that point is, that ending point. And as I'm almost to the end, I'm gonna lessen my stitch and come out of the edge, lift my foot, and leave a little tail where we're going to tie it at the end. And I'm going to do that for all the darts. All right, now that they're all done, we're going to go here at the bottom end of the dart, and we're going to put in, like I said, a little knot. I'm going to do a double knot here at the bottom, but I'm not going to do it tight because I don't want this to pucker here. So I'm just doing a double knot here, and then I'm going to trim the rest of the thread. All right, now with the appropriate amount of heat, I'm gonna steam them right open and over and to one side and the other. I'm gonna do that to all of them to flatten them out. Darts are great to bring in that shape and bring that skirt in and the bodice in here at the waist, and it makes it look so much neater once they're done. All right, now we're gonna grab our bodice front and our bodice back, and we're gonna face our front and our back right sides together of our top and our bottoms. So here's our tops. Our tops we're gonna match at our shoulder and our sides, right sides together. Being that this is a knit fabric with stretch, I'm going to use my serger to sew this up. For the skirt, I'm sewing the sides, right sides together. Make sure that they're matching. Shoulders for the top, and then the asymmetrical seam for the skirt. Now, if you're doing the Peplum flounce, you can grab your flounce now, fold it right sides together, put it right sides together and sew the sides, because then when we come to attach the bodice and the dress on the next step, you would attach the flounce in between them. But I'm not doing the hip flounce. I'm doing the bodice, top flounce, and then the bottom flounce. So I'm gonna go ahead and sew these sides and the side of the bodice, and then I'm gonna put the bodice and the top and bottom together. Right, I've got my bodice sewn at the shoulder and at the sides. Now, if you're doing the flounce, like I said, you would attach the flounce first to the bodice and sandwich it between the layers, but I'm not doing the flounce. I'm moving on because I'm doing the dress version without the flounce here at the waist. So I got to make sure that my front bodice is with my front skirt. So if you can see here, I've got my asymmetrical, here's my shoulder, and this is the part that goes down. So this is the right side. If you can't remember, grab your pattern pieces and place them on top and make sure that they're matching. So now that I've got that set, I'm gonna go ahead and grab my bodice and I'm gonna turn it right side out. And I'm gonna fit it into my skirt. The bodice front with the bottoms with the skirt front, and the bodice back with the skirt back, touching right sides together. I'm gonna match the side seams. And then I wanna match the darts. They're kind of facing opposite directions, so they kind of nest into each other. All right, and then I'm gonna go sew that up. While I'm there, since I'm making the sleeve, I'm going to sew up my sleeve right sides together at the outer, well, inner raw edge. I do have my sleeve marked where my front and back are. I did a little, when I was cutting it, I have the little darts here that show me that this is the back of my sleeve. And then I also did the same for the top of the sleeve here. So make sure that you mark that before you sew it together, because it's easier to put the pattern piece flat than it would be when you sew it on the round. Okay, so now when I turn it right side out, my bodice and, well, my bodice will be completed, front and top and bottom. Now for the sleeve, well, I shouldn't have turned it right side out because I'm gonna attach the sleeve. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fit my sleeve into my bodice by turning my sleeve right side out. And I'm gonna make sure that my sleeve goes matched up, the front to the front and the back to the back. I'm gonna fit it right into the bodice and match up those points right at the armpit seam first, then the top of the shoulder, and then match it right sides together all the way around. Now I'm gonna go ahead and sew all the way around on that one, and I'm gonna prep my two flounces. I'm doing the flounce for the bodice, for the shoulders. So I'm gonna put in a basting stitch here at the top, but first, you know what, I'm going to quarter it. So I know where my quarters are gonna be on my flounce. Sometimes when you gather it, after you gather it, it's hard to tell. So I like to quarter it first so that way I have it already and then I'm like, oh, okay, there they are. And because when you gather it a little bit, I think I already just said that. It's hard to tell. All right, so there they are. And then for my bottom bodice, I'm matching it right sides together here at the raw edge and sewing them together. We're almost done with this dress. Once we sew up the sleeve, we'll attach these two flounces, hem, and we'll be done. It is such a quick but fun and really nice looking sew. It looks way more advanced than it really is. I love these kind of sews because it makes you feel like you are making something that's super advanced and like so fun, but it's actually very easy to do because the steps are very simple. There's quite a few steps, but they're very simple steps that I know you can do. So let's get to it. I'm so excited. To do that stitch here, I'm gonna up my length of my stitch to the longest on my sewing machine, which on mine is a 5. And then I'm just gonna put in that basting stitch. If you up your tension, a lot of times you can go ahead and get a little bit of a gather by your sewing machine already. Make sure to leave a tail so that you can pull to gather. All right, I got my flounce prepared. I'm gonna turn my bodice right side out, inside out actually. The right side of the flounce is gonna touch the wrong side of the dress. But first I'm gonna mark my half, the front and my back. And I want my flounce, the right side of my flounce, to touch the wrong side of my bodice. And you're going to have to pull in that gathering stitch to match. So what I'm doing is I'm just attaching it in the quarter points, and then I'm going to gather it to fit. What I do is I pull that basting stitch, my bobbin thread. It's really not a ton of gathering, but once it fits, then you're going to go ahead and clip it because you're going to sew that together. And I do like half of it first, and then I go the other way and I do the other half. All right, so I'm gonna pull the other way and gather this other side. I'm gonna baste this on. I'm also going to go ahead and grab my elastic. This elastic is measured the width of the bodice opening here, and I subtracted 2 inches. And then I'm going to go ahead and place my elastic, overlap it by 1/2 inch and zigzag stitch it together, because then I'm going to attach the elastic at the same time that I attach the flounce to the bodice. So if you want to go ahead and baste it first, do a basting stitch, so that way when you go to attach the elastic, you can sew it all together at the same time. That's what I'm going to do. All right, so now I'm going to find my quarters again, the front and the back, because now I'm going to quarter the elastic to fit, and I'm gonna sew it on at the same time that I'm sewing this all together. I'm gonna sew it on my serger. So if you don't like to do that, you can go ahead and baste it again, like baste the elastic on first and then sew it together. But I like to just go ahead and sew it all at once. So I'm gonna grab my elastic and quarter that. Okay, and then I'm going to clip it at those quarters. And when I'm gonna sew this on, I'm gonna be stretching the elastic to fit around my whole neckline. I'm doing it on my serger, but you can do it either on your serger or with a stretch stitch on your sewing machine. I start by placing that piece of elastic right there, right under my foot. And getting my needle right on it, so that way it's not gonna move. Then I go to my quarter point and I stretch out. It's very lightly, it's not a whole lot of stretching. And then when I sew, I make sure that my elastic's encased in my seam, in my serger seam. See over here? You can see that the elastic is just encased in there. Right here is where it starts, and there it is, and we're gonna do that all the way around. All right, so now we're gonna do the same exact concept to the bottom of the dress. Now keep in mind that the shorter piece of the dress, see how it goes up here? That's where the shorter part of the flounce is gonna go. So we're gonna face our flounce here. And that shorter part is gonna go here at I'm sorry, no, opposite. The shorter part is gonna go at the longer edge. So this is the edge that goes down this way. So the shorter part will be on this side and the longer part is gonna be on this side. So we're gonna attach it and then we're gonna gather it to fit as well, like we did with our neck. All right, let's go sew that up. And after we're done sewing that up, all we've got left is to hem the sleeve, hem the flounces. Now, I did this with thin fabric and it's a knit. So if you wanted to leave the edge raw, that is all up to you, whatever look you're going for, but it is meant to be hemmed. So I'm gonna try it on and see how much I wanna hem off of it or whatever, and then we'll be done. All right, friends, we are finished. I think this turned out super cute. The flounce, the sleeve. Remember that there's other options. You can do it without the flounce and just add elastic. You can add flounce at the waist. You don't have to do the flounce at the bottom. So many options of how to create your own personalized dress. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Go grab your pattern, come back and sew it up with me, and I'll see you all next time.